Rain. Relentless, cold, unforgiving. It painted the city in shades of gray, masking its grime and secrets. A lone figure cloaked in darkness moved through the desolate streets. Echo. He saw not with his eyes but with his ears, his hands, his very being. The city was his canvas, its symphony of sounds his guide. A distant siren wailed, a mournful cry lost in the urban jungle. Footsteps splashed in puddles, creating a staccato rhythm. A car engine coughed and sputtered, its death throes echoing off rain-slicked walls. Each sound a brushstroke, painting a vivid picture in Echo's mind. He moved with the grace of a phantom, his blindness a cloak, his heightened senses a weapon. Tonight, the city held its breath. It knew a storm was coming. Darkness had claimed his sight, but it had gifted him something more. It was as if the world had taken one sense away only to amplify the others, creating a new intricate tapestry of perception, an awareness, a sensitivity to the world unseen by ordinary men. He could sense the subtle shifts in the air, the faintest of sounds that most would overlook. He remembered the day the darkness became his world, a cold, sterile hospital room, the beeping of machines, the hushed whispers of doctors, and the soft sobs of his mother. The smell of antiseptic, a stark contrast to the sweet aroma of the lilies his mother always kept. Those lilies, a symbol of hope and resilience, now seemed to mock the sterile environment. Then, silence. His world contracted, became a tapestry woven from sounds. The drip of rain, the hum of distant traffic, each sound painting a picture in his mind. His father, a seasoned soldier, refused to pity. He taught him to listen, to feel the vibrations of the world. Every lesson was a step towards reclaiming his independence. The rustle of leaves became a whisper of wind direction, the gentle sway of branches, a map of the unseen. The distant rumble of thunder, a predictor of approaching storms. Each clap of thunder, a signal, a warning, the echo of footsteps, a gauge of distance and intent. He could tell friend from foe, safety from danger, all through the symphony of sounds around him. Years blurred into a montage of training, his body honed into a weapon. Each movement precise, each action deliberate. His senses sharpened to an almost supernatural edge. He could hear the heartbeat of a city, the pulse of life in every corner. He could smell fear, taste lies in the air. The world spoke to him in ways it never did before. And sound was his eyes, his guide, his weapon. In the darkness, he found his strength, his purpose, and a new way to see the world. Victor Kane, a name that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to whisper it. The city trembled at his name, a name synonymous with power and fear. His mansion, a fortress of steel and concrete, perched atop the city like a watchful gargoyle. It loomed over the skyline, a constant reminder of his dominion. It was a fortress designed to keep the world out and its secrets in. The walls, thick and unyielding, held stories of power, betrayal, and darkness. Tonight, it would become Kane's tomb. The storm outside mirrored the turmoil within. Echo stood at the edge of Kane's estate, a shadow among shadows, blending seamlessly with the night. A wrought iron fence, its points like the teeth of a sleeping dragon, guarded the perimeter. Each spike seemed to whisper a warning to those who dared approach. Beyond, a manicured lawn stretched towards the mansion, its windows dark, unblinking eyes in the night. The silence was deafening, broken only by the patter of rain. Security cameras, their lenses gleaming under the dim lights, surveyed the grounds. They were the ever-watchful sentinels, capturing every movement, every shadow. He could feel the thrum of the city, the distant hum of electricity, the pulse of life within the mansion walls. And something else, a discordant note, a sense of foreboding. The rhythmic thump of a heavy bass line, out of place in this symphony of wealth and power. It was a jarring contrast, a reminder of the world outside. A weakness, a way in. Echo's eyes narrowed, focusing on the shadowy entrance. The night held its breath, waiting for the inevitable. The music was a gift, a teenager's folly, a lapse in judgment. It masked the subtle sounds of Echo's approach. He scaled the wall with the agility of a spider, his movements fluid, silent. He moved like a wraith, a phantom, the darkness his ally. The rain, a constant companion, muffled any stray sounds. He bypassed pressure plates, his weight distributed perfectly. Infrared beams were a child's toy. He navigated them with ease, his body a whisper in the night. Each step brought him closer to his target. Each heartbeat, a drumbeat urging him forward. The air inside the mansion was heavy with the scent of expensive cologne and fear. Kane was waiting. The music stopped abruptly. Silence. A pregnant pause before the storm. Echo moved through the mansion, his senses on high alert. He could hear the rasp of Kane's breath, the clinking of ice in a glass. The scent of fear, acrid and sharp, hung in the air. "You're late!" a voice boomed, roughened by years of command and cruelty. Echo didn't need to see to know where Kane was. He could feel the man's presence, a palpable weight in the room. The air thrummed with anticipation. "Time is irrelevant." Echo's voice was a low murmur, devoid of emotion. "Your end is not." A humorless chuckle. "You think you can kill me? In my own house? I don't need to see you, Kane. I can hear your fear." The fight was a whirlwind of sound and fury, a chaotic symphony of violence that echoed through the rain-soaked streets. Echo moved like a phantom, his strikes swift and precise, each movement calculated to perfection. He could hear the whoosh of Kane's fist cutting through the air, a deadly whisper in the storm. Feel the vibrations of his movements through the floor, each step sending ripples through the puddles. Each block, each counter was instinctive, a dance of death choreographed by sound and fury. The rain was their stage, the night their audience, as they fought with a primal intensity. The air filled with the sounds of struggle, the clash of bodies, the grunts of exertion, the relentless patter of rain, the thud of bodies colliding, the grunt of exertion, the scrape of shoes on marble, all blending into a brutal symphony. The scrape of shoes on marble, a desperate attempt to find footing in the chaos. Kane fought like a cornered animal, desperate but ultimately futile, his strength waning with each passing second. He was a lion facing a shadow, a king battling the night itself. But the darkness was relentless. A king battling the night itself, his roars drowned by the storm. A gasp, a choked wheeze. Silence descended once more, heavier, more final this time. The fight was over. Heavier, more final this time. The rain seemed to mourn the fallen warrior. The scent of gunpowder and blood filled the air. Echo stood motionless, a silent sentinel in the storm, listening to the fading rhythm of Kane's heartbeat. It was over. The night had claimed its due. Rain continued its relentless assault on the city. Echo melted back into the night, leaving no trace of his presence. Only the echo of his legend remained. The city held its breath. The weight of Kane's reign lifted. Word spread like wildfire. Whispers in the darkest corners, tales of a phantom, a shadow that delivered justice with the silence of the grave. Echo, the blind hitman, the man who saw with sound. His name, once whispered in fear, was now spoken with a strange reverence. He was a specter, a myth, a nightmare made flesh. The city, once his prison, became his hunting ground. His legend, his shield. He was the equalizer, the unseen hand that meted out justice in a world that had forgotten its meaning. He walked in shadows, a guardian angel for the damned, his vengeance swift and silent. And in the darkness, the city listened. It heard the echo of his footsteps, the whisper of his name, and trembled. For it knew, in the heart of its concrete jungle, a new predator stalked the night.